Hi there, it is Stephanie Meyer with Project Vibrancy Meals and Project Vibrancy Coaching. I'm also the author of the blog Fresh Tart, and I am the creator of the Healing Green Broth 30-Day Challenge, and I come here on Thursday afternoons to talk about food and health-related topics. And today, I'm going to talk about elimination diets and discovering food sensitivities, which are more and more common given our modern lifestyle, our modern diet. We live pretty stressful lives. We don't sleep enough. All of those things open the door to experiencing more and more food reactions and food sensitivities. And it's something that I talk about a lot in my Project Vibrancy coaching practice. I help people kind of figure out food sensitivities and how to find great replacements and how to manage them, and then how to really open your diet back up again after this period of time of doing an elimination diet. So I wanted to share more with you all kind of how that goes and just define an elimination diet, which sounds pretty much like what it is. You eliminate certain groups of foods that tend to cause reactions in people. And there are different types of elimination diets. So they're commonly prescribed by allergists, for instance. If you think that you have food allergies, which are different than food sensitivities, they work in different immune pathways. Food allergies tend to be much more severe. I'm sure we all know someone who has a very severe nut or shellfish allergy, cannot be messed around with. You can't accidentally eat one of those foods and just write it off. It causes a pretty scary reaction. And so that's a different thing. And if you suspect that you have a food allergy and you've ever had a reaction where you've had your breathing restricted, you've had swelling in your mouth, in your tongue, then you should absolutely see a food allergist and be tested for food allergies, because that is a much more serious business. Not that food sensitivities are fun, because they're not. The symptoms tend to be more in line with things like headaches, bloating, heartburn, joint pain, itching, some swelling perhaps. For me, it shows up as my eyes get really itchy and swollen and irritated. And there are just, brain fog is a really big one, and fatigue. I definitely notice if I eat something that I'm having a reaction to, I get this really almost drunk feeling afterward. And it's a feeling of inflammation, and it feels really crummy, and I sometimes have to just lie down and even go to sleep for a little while. So if you're experiencing any of those symptoms, it could be food sensitivities, and it's pretty easy to test and see if it is, and harmless also. So that's why I wanted to talk about elimination diets a little bit and just give you a little bit of an overview in case you've thought about doing one before. So I'm sure you've heard of the Whole30. After the holidays, a lot of people take the month of January and do a Whole30. It is a very popular elimination diet, basically. It kind of follows a paleo template in that it is sugar-free and grain-free. There's no alcohol, there's no dairy, no legumes, and you really just focus on eating whole, fresh meats, vegetables, and fruits, and eliminating all processed food and anything that looks like bread, cakes, cookies, any of that. And it's a great reset at the beginning of the year. It gets a bad rap for being restrictive, which I think is actually kind of hilarious, because it is just, a bounty of actually real food. I don't think it's restrictive to not eat junk food. So that's just my perspective. I tend to think of elimination diets as very abundant, and it just sort of takes your view of abundance away from food that really tanks your health and sort of draws you back and puts the abundance focus on all of the foods that make us feel the best, which is whole, fresh, real food. And that's why I think it's called the Whole30. So anyway, that's an elimination diet. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people don't take the time to carry out the second part of an elimination diet, which is the reintroduction phase. And really the whole point of an elimination diet, as far as I'm concerned, after you eliminate these foods, you tend to feel better. That's how you know you're on the right track. A lot of people who do the Whole30 feel absolutely amazing after, a week or two of getting adjusted to this new way of eating. And they're amazed at how much energy they have, how much better they sleep. And it makes you realize kind of how crummy you feel in your normal, regular diet, which is super fun to witness. But the second phase is reintroducing the foods that you eliminated one at a time so that you can gauge if that is the food that was making you feel fatigued, that was causing the reactions. There's only one way to know, and that's to reintroduce the foods one at a time and then keep a very careful food journal and take note of the symptoms that you're having. It doesn't add a ton of time onto the end of the elimination period, but that's where all the gold is. That's where all the info is. So if you ever find yourself doing a Whole30 in January, I know on their website that they do have a section, I checked before I came on here, dedicated to reintroducing foods and learning about what was possibly making you feel unwell or tired or lethargic or achy or any of those things before you embarked on the elimination diet. So that's a really important thing. I myself have followed an elimination diet, really paleo for years. Paleo is technically an elimination diet, and then a subset of that called the autoimmune protocol, which has just been a game changer for me in terms of managing my autoimmune thyroid conditions. It's helped me figure out several food sensitivities, for one, and then it's also helped me heal and have my energy back and feel amazing. And it's been really fun for me, and I have found that I actually eat a much wider variety of foods while I'm following the autoimmune protocol than I did when I was sort of eating, the standard American diet. So it's really sparked my creativity, and I've had a lot of fun figuring out ways to meet my cravings within the foods that fit under paleo or the autoimmune protocol. And that is really what sparked the creation of my meal plans, Project Vibrancy Meals. My meal plans are technically an elimination diet. They are customizable to a paleo or autoimmune protocol or Whole30 template, depending on which you follow. And I give lots of options in there, mostly also because I want the foods that people have reintroduced, like perhaps the option to use dairy or the option to use nuts and seeds or the options to use some gluten-free grains like rice or rice pasta. Those foods often end up coming back into people's diets after an elimination diet. And so I like to include those options for people so that it can cover all the bases depending on where you are in your elimination journey and in your healing journey. And it's been really fun. I've had so much fun developing those recipes. The whole AIP experience is basically what sparked that and created a whole product, which was really great. And so I want to be able to share this process with you in a more specific way than just popping on here and talking about it on Facebook Lives or trying to write blog posts about it. Just like Project Vibrancy Meals was really my attempt to share more information with you guys, more of a system, because blog posts were just not cutting it as much as I still love blogging. I have a great recipe going out today. But some people just want more. They want a system. And I've had several of you ask about, I did an elimination diet pop-up over the spring. It was wildly successful. And I've had several people ask me if I would do it again. And I decided to just create a Facebook group that I'm calling Food Reaction Freedom. It's a free Facebook group. I'm going to put the link to it below. You can join, and it's private, so I'll give you the link for it. But in that group, I'm going to talk about discovering food sensitivities and food reactions. I'm going to talk about conducting a proper elimination diet and giving you options for that. I'm going to talk through the process of reintroducing foods. And the most important thing, so many of you have tried elimination diets before, and then they have failed because they were too boring. You didn't have a clear way to make the food really delicious and to make sure that you're still meeting your cravings, that you're still able to eat your favorite foods within the template of that elimination diet. And I'm great at that, and I will be very excited to share delicious recipes with you guys and to talk about keeping an elimination diet really fun, perhaps in such a way that you're not all that tempted to go back to eating some of your old favorite foods. That happens all the time in Project Vibrancy meals. So I'd love to have you join that group. I'm going to be in there every day answering questions, and I'm going to be doing Facebook Lives, weekly Q&A sessions, and really paying attention to the questions that you guys have in the group. And then I can tailor the content to where you're at, the things that you're struggling with, the places that you need support. And then there will be lots of other people in there too with quite a bit of experience. I already have seen some of the people that are joining the group, and they're just rock stars, and I know they're going to be able to help you guys along too. So anyhow, very exciting. Food reaction freedom. I'm calling it Find Your Best Foods, because what I really like to think about at the end of an elimination diet, it's, as I said, it's sort of like you come from a standard American diet and what you think is bounty. Yes, there's this period of time where you're kind of reining things in, doing a lot of learning, also healing, start to feel pretty damn good, and then you open that abundance back up again by reintroducing foods and eating as many things as you possibly can that make you feel great, and avoiding the things that make you feel crappy. And there is a process for getting there, and I'd love to help you get there. So anyhow, the link is below. Ask me questions below if you need, or send me a DM. And otherwise, I'll see you over there. Thanks for being here, you guys. I'll be back next Thursday, and then I'll be in that group every day. So take care. Bye.